8 months. That's how long it's been since that Wednesday afternoon call that changed everything. The shock was the easy part to describe. It's everything that came after that nobody talks about. Over 200,000 of you watched the video about the day it happened. This one is about what came next and what I learned along the way. The link to that first video is in the description below. There's no way to prepare for that moment your world falls apart. You can be experienced. You can be smart. You can have navigated decades of a career, raised a family, made hard decisions under pressure. And still, when it happens, when that moment arrives, none of that prepares you for how it actually feels. For me, it was a Wednesday afternoon that stopped being routine 5 minutes before it started. Within 15 minutes, everything looked completely different. The shock doesn't announce itself. It just arrives. And when it does, your adrenaline is rushing. You're talking, responding, maybe even making decisions. But inside, something is still trying to catch up with what just happened. That's the haze, and it's real. You know that the haze is the worst time to make any decision at all, big or small. But life doesn't always give you that luxury. The world keeps moving. People are waiting for answers, and you're doing your best to respond from a place that isn't ready yet. If you've been in that space and wondered why you didn't handle it better, you were never going to. Nobody does. None of us are ever prepared for that moment. When the dust starts to settle, something else arrives, and it's quieter than the shock, but in some ways harder to sit with. You start to see things you didn't see at the time. Not because you were careless, not because you weren't paying attention, but because you didn't know they existed. There's a difference between making a mistake and missing something you had no framework for. A mistake means you knew. This is something entirely different. This is standing in a room and not knowing there's a door because nobody ever told you there was a wall. I've been there. I made decisions, important ones, having done what you're supposed to do, spoken to the right people, asked what I thought were the right questions, and still walked into something I never saw coming. Not once, twice. And the thing that stays with you isn't the outcome. It's the realization that no matter how much experience you carry, there will always be things outside your field of vision. Things you couldn't have prepared for because you didn't know they were there in the first place. If you ever looked back at a decision and thought, why didn't I know that? The answer is usually simple, because you didn't know it existed. And that's not a failure. That's just the honest reality of navigating something new at any age. There's something that doesn't get talked about enough when your world changes suddenly after 50. It's not the practicalities, it's not the finances or paperwork or the next steps. It's the loneliness, that particular kind of loneliness that comes when you're carrying something significant and there's almost nobody to really carry it with you. The people closest to you are supportive, of course they are. But support and truly being in it with you are two different things. One means they'll be there for you if you need them. The other means they want to sit down, ask the hard questions, think it through with you, check in, not because they feel they should, but because they genuinely want to. That second thing is rarer than it should be. And so you carry it. You process it mostly alone. And the truth is, unless someone has been through it themselves, they genuinely don't know what you're going through. Not really. And trying to explain it to someone who hasn't been there is its own kind of exhausting. You can see them trying to understand, but there's a gap, and you both know it. So you stop trying to explain it, and you carry the burden alone. I'm not here as an expert. I'm on this journey with you. That's part of what this channel and our community is trying to be. If you want to be a part of it, the link to our weekly newsletter is below. Stay to the end. I've got an announcement I think you're going to like. For a lot of people over 50, losing a job isn't just losing a job. It's losing a plan. Maybe a plan you've been building for years. The retirement date you'd set. The financial picture you'd carefully put together. The version of the next chapter that made sense of everything that came before it. Gone. Not because you did anything wrong. Not because you weren't good enough. Just gone. In a meeting you didn't see coming. And then comes the reckoning. You sit down and you redo the numbers, all of them. You work out what you can and can't afford. You calculate your runway. You ask yourself the questions you've never wanted to have to ask. Do I need to get another job? What salary do I need to earn to keep the plan intact? And what if I can't get it? The data backs that up. About 32% of job seekers aged 55 and over have been unemployed for more than 6 months, compared with 25% of those under 55. The market is harder at this stage. That's not a narrative, that's just the number. So you do what you're supposed to do. You update the resume, you reach out to people, you apply, and sometimes something feels promising. You get a response, then an interview, then another. You let yourself believe just a little that this might be the one, that the plan might be salvageable after all, and then it isn't. That particular kind of rejection lands differently than most because it wasn't just a job application, it was hope. And hope at this stage of life, when the runway feels shorter than it used to, carries a weight that's hard to explain to anyone who isn't living it. I know that feeling. And if you're in it right now, or you've been in it, here's something I didn't expect, and I'm not sure I've ever heard anyone say it out loud. Somewhere in the middle of all of it, the shock, the reckoning, the setbacks, the carrying it alone, something else started to appear. Not instead of fear, alongside it. Relief. I felt it almost immediately after the call ended. Underneath the shock, underneath the uncertainty about what came next, there was something that felt like release. Because if I'm honest, something had been wrong for a while. The kind of wrong you learn to carry because the alternative feels too disruptive to consider. You just got comfortable. The salary was enough, the health insurance was there, the job market looked difficult, so you stayed. And a lot of people find themselves in exactly that same place. Not because of anything they did wrong, that's just how life goes. And I think some of you watching this know exactly what I mean. Not necessarily from job loss. From any situation you stayed in longer than felt right. A job, a relationship, a version of yourself that no longer fitted. You don't realize how much weight you were carrying till the day you're no longer carrying it. The fear doesn't disappear, but over time, and I mean time, months, not days, it starts to take up less space, and something that feels a lot like purpose starts to take up more. I'm not telling you that's waiting for you on the other side. I'm just telling you it happened to me 8 months in, still in it, but not where I was. Every week I put out a private video just for our newsletter community, a roundup of the comments and conversations from the last week's videos. It's where the real conversation happens. The link is below. No commitment, 1 click and you're out if it's not for you. I've also put together a free guide, 25 pages, called First Things First, the 6 things you must do when you lose your job after 50. The link is below. And if you haven't seen the video where this all started, that's in the description too. That's where the story begins. Cheers.
Empower over 50 now. Stand up tall and take your bow. Feel the rhythm, feel the power. This is your triumphant hour.